Wait, I have to beat a remorseless? Eclipse, you son of a bitch. Hi, I'm Starism, and welcome to my suffering. I'm going to go into this video assuming that you watched the last two, so you're probably going to be very confused if you haven't. Now, if I want to get to the Citadel, I'm gonna have to beat a few towers first, so stay with me. Why? For plot reasons, of course. Anyways, that intro was long enough, so let's just get right into it. Starting out directly with my second intense, it's Steeple of Wicked Grotto. At first, this steeple was really hard for me, especially at the first floor. However, it's really learny, so eventually, over time, I managed to get the hang of things. What I found was that it was a very forgiving steeple, which I really like. Every floor had at least one safety net, which made it perfect for my playstyle. It helped amp up my skills, and the decoration was really nice. Give this a try when you can, as Silent Abyss in general is really good. I hate this, I hate this, I hate. There was only one tower, one single steeple away from me claiming a full heal crystal. Steeple of Magical Collaborations, the longest and hardest steeple in Arcane area. And much like almost literally everything else in Arcane area, I hated it. They just throw outsides at you literally every floor, put entirely new mechanics over said outsides, a no-jump floor. I mean, like, it wasn't all bad. I did like some of the puzzles, but like, the cons definitely outweighed the pros. However, since I completed it, I was finally able to claim the Rainbow This is an interesting steeple. At the start of the steeple, you have to collect 3 different items, but apparently this doesn't count as floor 1? Once you do collect the 3 items, you can actually go in the tower. Or more specifically, the individual floors. It was fine enough, nothing too memorable, but at the same time it was quite forgiving, which I like. Nothing much else to say, so let's just move on to the next. Oh no, we are not doing this again! Last time I opened the door, a crazed jack-in-the-box tried to kill me. Do not come in! Why do I even bother?
Complete my Christmas challenges! Beat 3 challenges to win!
Okay, but are you gonna try and kill me in the process?
No, we did not have time for a boss battle, so I'm just going to stay where I am the entire time. Bye!
Challenge number 1, light up 3 spotlight. Oh wait, I already did it. Challenge number 2. This was certainly an intense event, Steeple. Thankfully, this one was a lot more forgiving than Steeple of Moonlit Heresy. However, this one does have some mechanics I am not a big fan of. There's this mechanic where, like, on a thick swing, you have to spam jump as fast as possible without holding the button down. This is used frequently throughout the tower, and I'm just like, why? I like the overall theming and decoration of the tower, but like, it was just decent, not the greatest thing I've ever played, but still a pretty enjoyable time. Only took me 84 minutes to complete too, which was much better than Moonlit Heresy. Probably because my skills have grown a lot since then. Anyways, what was that final challenge again? Oh yeah. A high challenging steeple with no reward, built to be as infuriating as possible. Was built for 2022 in order to get a present, however got moved over to this event. How fun! I hate this steeple! It forces you to do like 5 billion truss flicks and 5 billion corner flips. The punishment is also extreme, so if you fail one jump, you're likely gonna go down like 3 floors. This steeple takes 5 minutes to beat, and it took me 145 along with 128 attempts. And what did I get for doing it? Jack squat! The only good thing I can say about this steeple is that it helped me be more consistent with my truss flicks. But besides that, I do not have anything good to say about this. It made me suffer way too much to get there. Snowman mech thing!
Hi, did you do the challenges?
Say hi to Eclipse for me, bitch!
Wait, what are you doing?
I knew you for less than 3 minutes. Good riddance. This monthly steeple was just fine, at best, really. In my opinion, floors 1 and 2, I don't really like them, but like, I can see how they're good. It's just, I myself didn't really have that good of a time with them considering how I kept failing on them, and a lot of people say that floors 1 and 2 aren't the best. However, after you get past floors 1 and 2, it's quite easy actually. Don't get me wrong, it's still an intense, except like, you know, you've got a safety net on your side. Overall, this was really well themed and basically should have made it into the main Silent Abyss. Unfortunately, it got moved to a monthly, but still, it's really cool. Yeah, fun fact, I didn't really like this steeple. You wanna know how much I spent on it in total? Nearly 2.5 hours with 92 attempts. Now, compared to Steeple of Zesty Situations, that doesn't sound too bad, but keep in mind, this steeple takes 15 minutes, while the other one takes 5. Not to mention that this steeple is extremely learny with its client objects. I probably shouldn't have went into it so soon. This was planned to be my first intense, however Steeple of Moonlit Heresy took that title. Either way, be sure you're at least kind of experienced with the game before attempting this one. I mean, yeah, since Biotech Genesis is coming out soon, you might want to try and get it done, but still. Okay, for starters, this is not harder than Steeple of Buoyant Automations. In fact, this doesn't even feel like an intense at all. It feels like a mid-challenging, maybe even a low-challenging. I mean, yeah, maybe the learning nature of the tower might contribute to its difficulty, but for me, this just does not feel like an intense. The tower's good. I like the contrast in nature and mechanical stuff, but yeah, it's quite nice. Don't let the difficulty intimidate you, because in my opinion, this is not intense. Hell, maybe you could even try this out for a first intense. However, with that, we are completely done with Garden of Ishal, at least until Biotech Genesis, the Palace, comes out. Alright, done with that, what's next? Oh, I got an email, what does it say?
Hey, Nerdism! You may have beaten my unloyal minion, but I'll be back next year to give you as much torture and pain as possible. I'll add even harder steeples next time. For now, however, there's still one thing you missed. In order to completely 100% the event, you gotta beat the Citadel of Treats and Tricks, a remorseless difficulty. Considering how you barely beat SOMH, there's no chance you beat this one. Good luck, loser. You'll need it. With hate, E13.
Oh yeah, I have to do that still. Welcome to the true final challenge of Halloween 2023. I mean, technically it's a bonus challenge, but like, still, you want an item, you're gonna have to do this. Now, the interesting thing about this Citadel is that it was initially supposed to be an intense tower. However, due to the frame, amount of floors, and mechanics, it got bumped up to Remorseless and turned into a Citadel. Meaning that when I beat this, it's going to be not only my hardest, my first Remorseless, and my second Citadel. Enough stalling. Let's get into the floors, which you can do at basically any order. Now, every single floor in this tower has its own gimmick. For this one, it's basically an auto-scrolling zombie ride. Shoot the zombies and targets, but miss the gems. If you don't do either of those, you take damage. It's not an insta-kill, but you need to be very careful because it can add up very quickly. This doesn't even really feel like EToH anymore, to be honest. The next floor is the pirate floor. First of all, you get introduced to the mechanics, also known as the instantly jump if you or else you fall swings and the boost pads. Once you do that, however, you get into the meat and bones of this floor. Yep! Screw you! This is a chase floor now! Luckily, there's no punishment if you do fall, however, this floor is extremely learning, as is the entire tower. You don't have to go extremely fast, but at the same time, don't go too slow or else the monster catches you. It'll probably take you a few tries, however, it'll be fine once you get the hang of it. Next up is the Cassel floor, which I had the hardest time with due to its raw gameplay. Alongside the raw gameplay in question, you get to see this floor's gimmick in some sections. The gimmick in question being a 2D section, which I find really cool and are pretty much underrated in most towers. I just like the novel concept of these as a break from like the insatiably hard gameplay. Next up is the Matter Manor. This one's gimmick is that it's entirely top-down, but you have a limited visibility of platforms. There are also really tricky walls you have to jump around, along with you not being able to see the kill bricks that teleport you to the start of the checkpoint if you hit them. This floor was probably a lot trickier than the others, however, it's probably not the hardest one. One of the downsides of this floor is that you can't go back once you've started it, unless you want to reset the entire tower. Here we have the trap floor, which is probably the easiest floor out of the entire Citadel. This floor is more reminiscent of like rage games where you have to like try and try again until you memorize where all of the traps are. The gameplay itself is like pretty easy, and if you look up a guide you can just know where all of the traps are automatically. It was still quite funny to get through. The ice floor is quite an interesting one. At the start of the floor, you're given a remote, which can freeze kill bricks and platforms in the area. You can use this to your advantage, creating scenarios where you normally wouldn't be able to go. Also, the platforms aren't collidable when they're unfrozen. I really liked this concept. I'm a decently good fan of timing-based things, so I liked this floor. Welcome to the Saloon, my least favorite floor out of all of them, because it took me the most time to do. The gimmick of this floor is that there is a gun trying to shoot you, and if it does, it flings you into the quicksand where you gotta go to your last checkpoint. You also have to, like, you know, fly with the momentum that you gain from being shot, and overall it's just kind of tricky in general. Not all of this tower's floors can be hits though, and I understand if some, in my opinion, aren't that good. Everything in this tower is well decorated, and don't get me wrong, it's just I myself personally didn't like this gameplay. Gary over here probably has one of the longest floors in the entire Citadel. His entire thing is that he's like this Hello Neighbor-esque sorta guy, trapping anyone who dares try and invade his house for candy in his basement. This floor is more of an escape room stealth kind of thing. After you initially escape the room, there will be characters in which can see you, which will teleport you to your last checkpoint, which can get kind of annoying if you fail too many times. Some of the segments in this probably weren't that fun to me because, you know, a tightrope where if you fall too low you get spotted, hard wraps under a time limit. ice-based push boxes. You get the deal. Overall, this was it was fine, not my least favorite floor, but still. Now, the detective house is kind of interesting. This is a whodunit style floor. You have to go to 5 suspects' houses and hear their stories. Then, once you do, you jot it down on your notepad to keep track of what everybody says. One of the suspects is the actual murderer. You don't have to go to everyone's houses if you get like 4 and one doesn't line up with the other. By the way, this puzzle is entirely randomized. If you don't get it right, you're gonna have to restart the entire floor from the beginning. Not to mention this floor already takes like 10 minutes if you do all of them. Now, despite that, I actually liked this floor. It made use of logic skills, which I never expected to see in a EToH tower. I think this is like the second longest floor, maybe? Either way, despite this being 10 floors so far, we still have 2 more things to do before we access the final floor. The first town challenge is where you fall in the specific hole in the pirate floor, leading to an Obby. The Obby in question is Morphers. Did I mention that this one segment is the hardest raw gameplay in the entire tower? Luckily it's pretty short, but you're probably gonna take a few attempts getting through this if you're not that skilled. Then again, if you're playing a Remorseless, you're probably pretty skilled to begin with. The second town challenge is a maze, except there are constantly killbrick spinners trying to kill you. The killbrick spinners in question aren't that bad, you can evade them pretty easily, but you really need to keep track of how much damage you're taking because you could definitely die if it adds up too much. Once you get the key, you just go over to the pirate brig to get something for the alien guy, and then you get a candy. Now, I know that this footage is not my own, but I'm not gonna rebeat a Remorseless Citadel just for video footage, okay? This floor starts out with a reminiscence back to the original Steeple of— oh, never mind! Welcome to the real finale, a mashup of everything you've experienced so far. Luckily, there aren't that many sections that can kill you here. If you're not careful on the zombie part, you can definitely die, but still. Now, I loved this final stretch. It took all of the mechanics that I've loved in the past and put them all into one big wrap-up. This was splendid. There were some sections of this finale that I didn't really like, but at the same time, there were parts of this tower that I didn't really like in general. However, once you make it to the top of that big building, don't think you're out of things just yet. Welcome to Finale Part 2. Remember the chase sequence? It's back! This segment basically summarizes everything that the Citadel did, except way more fast-paced than before. This took me quite a few tries to get down, as again, this entire Citadel is learny, but still. Now, in one of the final sections of this finale, during the desert section, I fell in a pit, but didn't get teleported. This was extremely scary because I thought I had just been soft-locked and had to restart my 3-hour run. I genuinely thought it was over. That is, until I found my way outside of the map, and because I fell in the void, I got teleported back to the beginning of the finale. After you make it through that desert section, you gotta solve another case. Don't worry, this is the same every time, unlike the last one. Then, it's one final chase against the monster, the final stretch, the last thing keeping you from victory over this Citadel. And then, you do it. It turns out that this entire Citadel was a prequel to a different Citadel in Zone 6. I'll get to that when the time comes, but for now, Kotat has been vanquished. I did it. I actually did it! After 3 hours, I beat Kotat! Now, I have no idea who this E13 guy is, besides the fact that he's Eclipse's boss, but when the time comes, I am going to explode them. For now, however, I think I'll rest a bit. EToH is a game about failing. Getting so far up, and then falling so far down. Even if you're the most skilled player, you still have to fall at some points. Sometimes being on the easiest tower in the worst way that you can imagine. Maybe you'll cry, maybe you'll not. Sometimes the way you fall isn't even fair. However, for every failure comes a victory. The things you once saw as impossible now become possible. And that feeling of success, that feeling of triumph, is beyond anything else. I don't know when, or even if, I'll beat a soul crushing. All I know is that I'm going to get better and better at the game. I will eventually make it. Since I've already made 3 videos on this game, I'm probably not going to do another one unless I beat a soul crushing, or at least until that E13 guy shows up. But for now, I'll see you all next time! Wait, nothing interrupted me that time? Sweet, I can actually do a proper outro!